I am so excited to have you along with us today. We are here at a very rare bookstore in the middle of Manhattan on Madison Avenue between 54th and 55th Street called Bauman Rare Books. And I am super excited. I've never been in the shop before, but the manager, Eric Durand, is going to take us on a tour. We're going to look at some very rare books, some beautiful books, some classic books, and some expensive books. So come along, join us, and let's take a look inside. Tell us about some of the most interesting books here.
Okay, sure. Well, we specialize in first editions of what we call landmark books in all fields. So the most important, the most influential, the best known and best loved works in each field, whether it be literature, history, science, art, economics, architecture. Children's books are very popular, travel and exploration, the works, you name it, and we handle it and focus on, as I say, first editions, sort of the best of the best. So we've got a number of great things on display right now, and I can take you through our display cases and show you a couple of them.
Let's go.
So here we have a first edition of Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn from 1885.
I love Huckleberry Finn, by the way.
Yeah, and so many people do, and that really is a great, I mean, it's one of the great American novels, and that's a great foundation work for a collection of American literature.
It's actually the first edition. That's what the first edition looked like?
Yes, that is. It's in its original publisher's green cloth binding with the gilt decoration of Huck on the front cover. You know, Twain was fairly established and fairly popular, kind of a celebrity for the 19th century at that point, and the print run as a significance was quite sizable by this point. You had a print run of 30,000 copies, which is not insignificant for the 19th century, but it was issued in this delicate cloth binding, and it tends, and because of its popularity and because of its consumption by libraries, it really tends to be read to pieces. So what's really tricky and difficult and rare, and a function of the book's value, is finding it in excellent condition, and that's what we've got here, just a really first-rate copy of the first edition, and that's $15,000. Next to it is the first edition of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which is another perennial and another kind of staple of great 19th century literature. A few people realize this. It's a very thin book. I mean, it's only about 150 pages, but it was published in 3 volumes, which was in keeping with the 19th century convention of the triple-decker, the Victorian triple-decker. Most novels in popular literature were published in 3 volumes at the time, and that's what you're seeing there. Next to it is a protective, what we call a clamshell box, which houses and protects the books.
And that's on sale for $68,000.
No,
oh,
$168,000.
Oh, I didn't see the one. It's on sale for $168,000. Awesome.
So here is the second folio edition of Shakespeare's plays. This dates to 1632, and that's the famous portrait of Shakespeare done by Matthew Droschett, is the name of the painter, and that sort of has come down to be our image of him, and that's.
Are we pretty sure that's what he looked like? Or?
I think we're pretty sure.
He actually set, okay, I was if he actually set for that, or was it from the imagination? Okay.
But that does come from the title pages of the 4 folio editions. And
$95,000. Well, I feel like I got a deal. I recently had received a gift of a complete work of Shakespeare, and it was $50. that's a deal comparatively.
Yeah, you didn't get it here.
I didn't get it here. Now this, I'm looking at something very interesting. You have this, well, actually you have 2. You have a copy of a Bible here and one over there, and they're huge. Why were the books printed, well, actually that's just very wide, but why were the books so large at that time? Was it because of the printing press? Was it?
Yeah, I mean, it had to do with the technology. It had to do with the materials. You know, Bibles in particular might be read at a lectern, and so they would need to be large in order to be, read and to have an imposing presence.
What is your most expensive item here?
But generally, they're going to peak in the low to mid hundreds of thousands. But I should caution that that's certainly not that's fairly exceptional. I mean, most of our inventory is in the low to mid thousands of dollars to the into the multiples of tens of thousands of dollars. But that said, we have things in the hundreds. We do have books in the hundreds. and some of the most expensive books of all time tend to crest in the low millions. So yes, and it is a very small and elite core of books that trade.
Can you name one or two that are in the low millions?
First folio of Shakespeare's collected plays from 1623 is a multi-million-dollar book. The first edition of John James Audubon's Birds of North America from the mid-19th century in its original double elephant folio format is one of the great rarities and one of the most valuable books. Has traded most recently at about $7 or $8 million. But there are very few books that trade at that price.
Breaking off real briefly, what sort of customers do you get here? Do you only get collectors, or do you get sort of everyday citizens who decide, you know what, I'm going to put down $36,000 for this book because I have to have it? What's kind of the percentage, would you say?
I think it would be difficult to be precise about that. Certainly we get a lot of collectors, and we have a big reputation among seasoned book collectors. But I think we're different from other booksellers in that we really try to bring it to a larger audience and make it accessible to people and bring people in, and hopefully take people who maybe have only heard about us and heard about book collecting, haven't given it a great deal of thought, teach them about it and kind of show them the ropes and introduce them and bring them along. We're looking to meet people and make collectors out of people.
Well, this concludes the first part of our interview here at Bauman Rare Books, where we looked at some of the older classical works, things from the 17th, 18th, and 19th century. And join us next week. We're going to look at some of the more modern classics, things like F. Scott Fitzgerald and Edith Wharton. In the meantime, take care, and we'll see you next week here at YaminaToday.com. Bye.